Hey everybody, it's a snowy day on Sunday and I thought I'd record a video in case you're looking for something to do because who knows, maybe we'll have a snow day tomorrow. This is for two-step equations. Many of you have finished one-step equations, so you really need to get started with this. I'll upload this if you want to print it out at home. Otherwise, you can wait and do it in school on Monday or Tuesday. Anyway, every time we need to solve a two-step equation, by the way, if you look down here, at the bottom of the page, these are two examples. And when we say two-step, in the past we've only worked on this part right here, and now there's two parts. There's multiplication and division, and there's addition and subtraction. So there's two operations that you have to take care of. So it gets a little bit more complicated. But let's start, first of all, by circling the variable. We want to know what 1x is worth. So in order to know what 1x is worth, we need to isolate it. We need to get it by itself. So we need to isolate the variable. Please write this. If I write, you need to write. Ooh. And this is a really big skill for 7th graders, so make sure you really are paying attention to this, okay? Undo the addition or subtraction with, well, let's see. Let's talk about this for a second. I'm going to draw a line down so you can see that this is two sides of the equation. I need to get the x alone, but right now there are three x's, so I can't just separate those. I need to first of all get rid of any addition and subtraction. So in order to do that, I want you to notice the 20. The 20 is positive. So what do I do to get rid of a positive 20? I do the inverse, and I'm going to subtract 20 from 20 because 20 minus 20 is 0. But whatever I do on the left side, excuse me, I have to do on the right side. So I'm going to subtract 20 over here too. So, sorry, the first thing we have to do is undo the addition or subtraction with the inverse operations. Sorry about my writing. Inverse operations. Okay. Now, what's left down here? Well, the 20s are gone. So I'm going to cross those out. You don't need to write the 0. But I'm going to bring down what's left, which is 3 x's. The equal sign is kind of like the fence. And 32 minus 20 is 12. Okay, so now we have a one-step equation, which you're used to solving. Excuse me. 3x means 3 times x. So the opposite of multiplication is division. So I need to divide both sides by the number that's being multiplied, which is 3. So I'm going to divide by 3 on each side. And that means to undo multiplication or division, we're going to use inverse operations again. Okay. And 3 divided by 3 is 1, right? So 3 divided by 3 is 1x. I'm going to just write the 1 so you can see what I'm doing. And 12 divided by 3 is 4. Do I need to write the 1 in front of the x? No, of course not. So really, I just know that 1x is worth 4. Let's do a check, and that's the last thing we always have to do. Now, because I've run out of space, it gets tricky when I'm writing on this. Can we do it in our heads, if you don't mind? So I've got a 4 here. X is worth 4. So let's do this. 3 times 4 is 12, and 12 plus 20 is 32. Oh, worked. Let's try another one. I'm going to change colors here. Let's do hot pink. Notice on this one, the variable is on the right side. That doesn't matter. It shouldn't change anything. But if you are uncomfortable with it being on the right side, you can just swap both sides. I'm not going to. I'm perfectly comfortable with it. I'm going to draw the line down. I'm going to circle the variable. I know I need to get y alone. But the first thing we wrote up here is that the first thing I need to do is look for addition and subtraction. Well, I see a subtraction problem here. So what do I do to undo subtraction? I add. So I'm going to add 5 to both sides. That's a 5, by the way. Add 5. That's addition. Draw my line, because that's to show that what I'm doing to both sides. 39 plus 5 is 44. Equal sign. And all that's left, because the negative 5 undoes the, back it up. The addition sign, adding a 5 undoes the negative 5. So what's left is a 4y. And now the next thing it says up here is undo with multiplication or division. So that's the next thing I need to do. Okay, it looks like this is being multiplied again. So the opposite of multiplication, or the inverse, is to divide. I'll divide by what I'm multiplying by, and that's by 4. So I'm left with y equals, and hopefully you have room to write underneath, but I don't. Y equals 44 divided by 4 is 11. Now let's do a check. 11 times 4, if I substitute this 11 in for the y, 4 times 11 is 44. 44 minus 5. Okay, 44 minus 5. Yeah, it's 39. Beautiful. I'm going to pause this and scroll down. Make sure you have this before I go to the next page. Oops, I didn't realize there were 2 more problems, so we're going to try those first. Let me change the color again. We'll go with green this time. Okay, now remember in our directions it says to look for any addition or subtraction first. And I do see some subtraction here. So I'm going to draw my line down just so you can see. I'm going to circle my variable. So I need to get that x by itself. I need to isolate that x. Isolate means to get something by itself. So I see that I'm subtracting 8. So I'm going to add 8 to both sides. Okay, draw my line because it shows that's one step. Now, negative 8 plus 8, those are opposites or inverse operations, so they cancel out. Don't write the 0, it's not worth it. What is left, though, is negative 12x. And on this side, 28 plus 8 is 36. Okay, now it says I have negative 12y's. Let me shut that TV off. I have negative 12y's. I need to divide both sides. Oh, let me make sure you understand this. This is negative 12 times y. It doesn't say y minus 12. It doesn't say I'm subtracting. This is just a negative 12 times y. So I need to divide both sides by negative 12. Okay, now negative 12 divided by negative 12 is 1. Anything divided by itself is 1. So that's great because that means I have 1y. I can write the 1 if you want. Do I have to? No, it's invisible math. 36 divided by negative 12 is negative 3. Okay, let's take some time to check this one, though, because this is going to be harder to check in our heads. I'm going to rewrite it. Negative 12, oops, negative, why is it not writing for me? Negative 12, it's not going to want to write down below that line. Okay, we're going to have to do it in our heads. Negative 12 times negative 3 is positive 36 because a negative times a negative is a positive. So 36 minus 8 is 28. It does work. All right, now let's go to number 4. Let's choose purple. Now, I'm going to draw a line down, and I'm going to circle the R. All right, I need to get R by itself. Right now, it's being divided by something, and I can't have that. I need to know what 1R is worth. So I'm going to look for any addition and subtraction first. And it looks like I have some addition. So the inverse operation is to subtract. Okay, that's good. Now the 8's cancel out. Positive 8 and negative 8 are inverse operations. They're opposites. They make 0. Cross them out. Now I'm left with R divided by 2 equals 6. This part is the part that gets people a little tricked up. Right now we have all positive numbers, and that's fine. It'll make it easy. But when I'm multiplying both sides, I need to use parentheses because sometimes you do have a negative. And when you don't use parentheses, it looks like you're subtracting. So please use parentheses. Let me show you what I mean. This says R divided by 2. What's the opposite of division? The opposite is multiplication. So I could do this. I could just show multiplication with a dot. But what were to happen if this was a negative? It might make it very confusing. So the way I prefer it is to write parentheses. Now, I want you to just remember, if I'm multiplying something with a number, a fraction, that has the same number base, those two numbers cancel out. So I'm left with R, 1R. And on this side, 6 times 2 is 12. Let's do this in our heads to check. If I put the 12 in here for R, because that's the value of R, 12 divided by 2, and if you don't believe me, check your calculator. 12 divided by 2 is 6. 6 plus 8 is 14, so it does check. At the end of this video, I'm going to post the answers to the next part, but I want you to scroll down. I'm going to scroll down, and I want you to try all of these. Some of them are going to be harder than others, but I want you to try them only because I don't want my video to go too long. You'll be bored, okay? So pause the video and try it right now. And now I'm going to scroll down and show you the answers. Now, the bad part with this is that it is just the answers. It doesn't show work. So when you post your video, if you don't have any work, I'll know you really had trouble with this, and that means we need to get help, okay? Here are all the answers. Please check when you are done to make sure you get it. Good luck.